In other words, wage labor was a non-sustaining way of life. So I think it's pretty clear now that there's clearly a wage labor market. There's clearly a credit market. These markets don't obey the same rules that they would, say, even in 18th century Amsterdam or 19th century London. And the way in which credit and labor markets impact ordinary people, I think that was the thing that I was particularly interested in. And one of the big surprises to me when I started to work on this book is I really started to run the numbers. Let's look at wage earning from their perspective. And what I found is that when we really take seriously the amount of available spots, that nobody could make a living on the wages that were offered that we know of from Roman Egypt. In other words, wage labor was a non-sustaining way of life. And that made me ask, so what in the world is going on here? If no one can make a living on these wages, particularly if we take seriously the limited amount of labor spots that seem to be available, what's going on? But what I argue is that actually wage earning is a complement to mostly own production by small-scale farmers. It's not a livelihood. So that the wages that we have from Roman Egypt cannot be used to reconstruct total income because nobody ever lived on them. So you live with wages, you don't live on them. And so what I found when you started to actually really unpack these sources and take seriously individuals and follow them through the account books when you can, is that what you find is that most of these anonymous wage earners are almost certainly smallholder farmers who are working from time to time at wage earning jobs together with their kids, because a lot of those wage earning spots are also held by children. And that they're doing this either at off moments in the agricultural year or at times in which they need extra income. And so one of the reasons the wages are so low is that very few people are really having to live on them. That puts wage earning and wage labor in a completely different perspective than we, particularly as economic historians, imagine it as being one of the basis for, being able to reconstruct per capita income, the great divergence, the small divergence, all the things that, particularly for the economic history of Europe, we've used wage records to do. These guys are the biggest hustlers. They do everything.